I picked a sicha which is easy, geschmackige sicha. We mentioned it recently. It was something we did, so I figured we'd do the sicha. This week, one of the mitzvahs in this week's parsha is about how you treat your slaves. And in Avodas Hashem, there's all kinds of levels in slaves. There's the Eved Ivriya, Alma Ivriya. There's the Eved Knaini. There's the Olam Abriya, Yetzirah, Asiya. There's all kinds of things in Chassidus of how you're supposed to treat a slave. Now, this is a sicha that, as much as you think that the Rebbe is talking to us, you'll see at the punchline that he's talking to the Rebbeinu Shalom. But it's kedai to listen in on the sicha. It's kedai to listen in. Oh, how are you? Just in time. So let's get straight to it. The Rambam Tzolach Hilchas Avodah. Muter lavet be'eved knani beforich. You're allowed to, if you have an eved knani, a goy who's an eved, you're allowed to work with him on avodas perech. Elsewhere, the Rambam describes what's avodas perech. We know that the Jews worked in Mitzrayim beforich, and you're not allowed to make an eved ivri work beforich. For avodas perech is like if it's humiliating work. You tell them, just work till I come back in the field. Just keep on working till when. I'll tell you when to stop. That's called avodas perech. That's called avodas perech. I tell you when to stop. It's avodas perech.
There's a humanitarianism aspect. Still, you can't really.
But he says it's mutter. It says mutter. Apidin. Even though you're right. The Torah expects that a person should be humane towards even the Eved Knani, even though it's permissible. Midas Chasidus v'darkei Chochma. It is the way of Chasidim and the way of Chacham. Shia Odom Arachim, a person should have Rachmanos. V'roidiv Tzedek, he should look after what's Tzedek. V'lo Yachbet Ulay Alav, you shouldn't try to make his yoke very heavy on a slave. V'lo Yotzer Lo, you shouldn't make it difficult for him. V'yachileu v'yashkeu, you should give him to eat and to drink. M'kol Meichel, M'kol Mishta, from every food and every drink that he has. Chachamim Rishonim Ha'inosim Le'eved M'kol Tafshel v'Tafshel Shehoy Oichlan. The Chacham Rishonim used to give to the servant from every single food they have. Not only that, Magdinin Mozen Abehemois V'avodim L'sudas Atzman. They used to first give the food to the behema and to the servants, and then they used to feed themselves. Harehu Oimer, it says in the Pasuk, Ke'eni avodim al yad adonayim, Ke'eni shivch al yad gevirta. That we say to the Eibishter, just like the servant looks up to his master, just like the maid looks up to the geveret, the woman who is her balabas. So, in other words, that we expect that the Eibishter should have mercy on us. So when we have mercy on our servants, the Eibishter will have mercy on us. Shouldn't give him a bizoyan with his hand. His hand could mean to make like this, to give him a slap. Shouldn't say any words that will hurt or embarrass this servant. They're there to be a servant, not to embarrass. He shouldn't scream at him and shouldn't get angry at him. He should talk to him softly. He should hear his complaints. Servants have complaints all the time. And that's this befedish specified in the words of Iyuv, in his midas toivus shemishtaber b'hem, that he bragged about them. Im ames mishpat avdi v'amosi berivim imodi haloi beveten oiseni oseyu v'echonei berechem echad. He said, my servant and me, we came from the same place, from a mother's womb. How can I not be kind to my servants? This cruelty and chutzpah is only there by goyim who serve Avodah Zorah. But the descendants of Avram, they have that from the Eibishter, the Torah, they got from the Eibishter that they should have chukim and mishpotim, and they're full of justice. So rachmonim heim, they have rachmanas. I'll call everyone. The midas of the Eibishter that he told us that we should emulate his midas. Huaymer, it says that his mercy on all his creatures. If a person has rachmanas, they have rachmanas on him also. Thank you very much. That the Eibishter will give rachamim to the Yidden. As we said before, that the Pasuk says, "Kein avodah ma'aleh the name." Okay. An interesting diuk that Rebbe has here. Simple diuk. What's this double lashon? It says you're allowed to use the Eved Kanaini beporech. You're allowed to make him work hard. But it's midas chassidus v'darkei chochma to be kind. What's the double language? Midas chassidus v'darkei chochma. What does it mean? So what it means is darkei chochma is that Rambam says earlier that a person could say to a slave, you know what, I'm not feeding you. The Jews, I have mercy, you go collect tzedakah. The din is that if his wife brings in a whole bunch of slaves, when she got married, she brought in slaves. He's not allowed to do that.
She's not allowed to do that?
He is not allowed to do that to her slaves. Why? Because the Rambam says very poshut. If you're going to mistreat a slave, you tell him, you go to Shem Shabbos. They have over there rolls, bags full of rolls over there for free. You go eat there. You know what's going to happen?
They get sick.
He's going to get sick or he's going to run away. The woman's not fair for her. Now she got married, she doesn't have control over the money, but the slaves belong to her. So he has to provide food and shelter and take good care of her slaves. His own slaves, he can do whatever he wants. So we see it's darkei chochma. If a person wants to be a chochem, wants to be wise, you have to treat the servants well. If you mistreat servants, you're going to get the American history. In short.
There will be you, boss.
What happened? They had servants, but it wasn't good enough. They have to work them under the sun for 18 hours and beat them and whip them and mistreat them and segregate them and not give them the basic human rights.
Came back to buy them.
They came back.
Servants is one thing, but huh?
They did it already.
They wanted to make the white people the slaves.
Yeah, the way we walk in the house. I'm sorry.
But doesn't say that the husband buy everything that the woman has. It's his.
Right. That's why he's obligated to. No, it's not his. If they get divorced, she gets her slaves back.
Right. But she came with the slaves, so it's his.
It's his right now. They serve him.
So why he cannot do whatever he wants to do?
Because it's not really his. It's his only as long as they're married. If they get divorced, she gets the slaves back. If he mistreats them, then they're going to run away.
Right.
She's going to lose.
She comes in with her own money.
It's not money.
But that's hers.
Right, it's hers.
So why would it be that way with slaves?
It's the same thing. It's hers. It's just that he takes responsibility over it. Because they're going to...
Well, they're living under his
the real
roof.
estate, the same thing. You should bring.
Say real estate, the same thing.
He's only a partner on the profit, not on the equity.
Right. It doesn't. Right. Right. There's malug. There's not some basil. Some things.
Yeah.
Some things. The bottom line is the ownership is hers. The question is how much ownership he has. If it's nechse malug, nechse he doesn't. Like you said, the equity is hers. He gets to use it. So we see from here that darkei chochma, the wise person doesn't mistreat his servants. If you treat your servants very well, they might even not even ask for a pay raise. You treat them very well. You give them promotion without pay. we spoke about this once.
But they say the slaves, the Eved, in that point in time, they were not like the slaves of the Civil War. They weren't mistreated. They were treated.
That's what the Rebbe is saying. That's why darkei chochma. Because otherwise, what you're going to get is a civil war. That's what you're going to get. The slaves are human.
The human have to be treated like
They have to be okay. So why? So now, what's the double lashon? What's the double lashon? Midas chassidus darkei chochma. If it's darkei chochma, if you got to be a dummy to mistreat your servants, so then it's not midas chassidus. That's not midas chassidus. Darkei chochma. If you have seichel, you're going to treat your workers well. If you mistreat them, they're going to walk out on you. If you have slaves, treat them well. You won't treat them well, they're going to break, they're going to steal, you're going to have tzodas from them, then they're going to run away from you. Treat them well. That's chokhmah. So why do we need darkei chasidus? It's enough to say darkei chokhmah.
And the slaves, they wanted to stay as slaves.
There were some slaves that wanted to stay. They had it good.
Food.
So that's darkei chokhmah.
They were happy.
Right. So that's wise. They didn't want to leave. So, that's for sure. But so then why do we need midas chasidus?
Well, you
Chil
need
Hashem, darkei chokhmah. Why do we need it? Why does the Rambam say it's midas chasidus? This is darkei chokhmah. It's 101 of a wise person. If you want to run a successful business, don't mistreat your workers. Someone was talking to me the other day. He said that they did a study recently, and they said there's a myth. There's a myth that there are people that are successful step over people's heads. He said most people that are that run huge enterprises are dafke very, very nice people, and they know how to compliment people, and they know how to they know how to pick people's morale up. And, okay, so you have a yotzim and a klal tyrants that run a tire shop, but what?
They won't become competitors.
Right.
He wrote a whole book. Carnegie wrote a book.
Good people.
But doesn't say if you have one pillow, you give it to the Eved and not to you.
Ah, very good.
Wow.
Now you're talking.
So this is Chassidut, modern Chassidut.
So the Rebbe says one in a pashto pshat you could say a few things. That midas chasidus is if a person doesn't have midas chasidus, they don't feel the pain of the servants. So what do you mean? I'm paying him. I'm paying a salary. I bought him. So what do you mean? You don't even feel that the guy has a taina. If a person has midas chasidus, then he can be a chochem. The goyim in the south, the problem was that they had achzorius in them. So it was not. You couldn't knock sense in their thick skull to tell them, listen, you're going to have a revolt here. But they didn't feel that the Eved ever has any tainus. But the Rebbe says there's much more to it. There's much more to it. If you look here in the Rambam says, it mixes an interesting thing. He says that the Chacham Rishonim used to give their servants to eat, and give them to eat first, just like they did for the behemoths. What the Mefarshim asks, what's the connection? The Gemara talk about it, but the Gemara and Brachas, the Gemara we once learned. Daf Mem Beis and Brachas. It says, when asati esav b'sotcha levamtecha, v'achalta. First you give, you serve your animals, and then you eat yourself. That's it. Simple. Plain and simple. Oh, there's a big machloikus. It says Zeraisa, the Rabbanon. The Rambam holds even, it's not even a Rabbanon. He called it Midas Chasidus. When the Gemara says Osur, to eat first, it doesn't mean Osur. It means Osur and Midas Chasidus. Interesting. So some people hold it's awesome in Torah, some the Rambam we see here holds it's awesome in Midas Chasidus. Fine. But and it's interesting also the Rambam uses a different pasuk. The pasuk in the Torah that the Gemara brings is v'nasati esav b'sotcha, and the Rambam brings the pasuk a totally different pasuk. Avodim, 4 lines from the top, the last 3 words. The name you understand why he brings a different pasuk because he also said a different din. The Gemara talks only about animals. The Rambam talks about animals and slaves. Therefore, he brings and beikir is hilchas avodim. Therefore, he brings a different pasuk. But why is the Rambam mixing this? The Gemara is 2 separate halachas. The Gemara talking about first you feed the animals, then you eat yourself, and then there's mitzvah chassidus. But why is the Rambam mixing the 2 things? Obviously, the Rambam is trying to show you something over here. That the idea here is the same thing, just like. When it comes to animals, so what do I have? Why am I raising goats and sheep? Because I want to shech them to eat them. So why do I have to feed them first? Does it make sense? I can't have breakfast first. And why am I raising the sheep? to shecht him later. I'm raising the cattle to shecht him. So what, I have to feed them first? Elamai, that's the Eibishter wants that Yid should have the teva of rachmanas, and in order for Yid to have the teres rachmanas, that he knows that the first thing in the morning before he even eats one little cookie, he feeds the animals. He has in him the teva rachmanas. Same thing over here by a slave. What the Rambam was trying to say is that it's not only darkei chochma, it's also midas chasidus. A person could say the slave. Why is it that the Torah says you're allowed to use Eved Knani in Avodas Perech? Because there's some very demeaning jobs, and you need to get it done. Now, if the guy is going to come in with a suit and a tie, and he's going to, every little thing you tell him, he's going to, I'm going to go to my union rep, he's going to write you up. You're never going to get anything done. So sometimes the Balabas feels he has to put the Eved in his place and be Mevazeh, Mevayashim. And once the guy knows his place and he's going to tell him to go clean up the barn, the guy is not going to complain about the union reps. He's just going to go clean up the barn. So, therefore, the Torah says it's mutter to use him for Avodas Perech. So even though it's mutter, even though we're saying it's mutter, a person could say, but wait a second, the Torah says it's mutter. The Torah wants that a Yid should have midas chasidus. Midas chasidus could be mitzad darkei chochma. A person will say, chochma hin chochma her. I know my chochma. Don't worry. Don't tell me how to be a chochma with my servants. If I'm going to embarrass him today and put him in his place, then tomorrow when I send him to the barn, he's going to walk like a tatala. But if I'm going to feed him first and I'm going to give him the better pillow and I'm going to give him the better food, next time I'm going to tell him to go to the barn, he'll tell me that I should go to the barn. So he's saying, even though when darkei chochma doesn't apply, but still the Yid has to treat the avodim with compassion, even doesn't make sense for darkei chochma, just because of midas chesed, just because of midas chasidus. Sometimes darkei chochma will say you have to treat them nice, but sometimes darkei chochma will say you got to be a little rough with them, you got to give them a whack, you got to embarrass them. So, but midas chasidus says no, you should always treat them humanely. That's why the Rambam says both midas chasidus and midas chochma. Furthermore, the Rebbe says, you look in the Rambam mentions these things 4 times about the kindness of a Jew. But here he adds a little bit to it. Let's look at the 3 other times that Rambam talks about it. Hilchos Tshuva Perek Beis Halacha Yud. The Rambam says, also l'odam li yisachzori v'lo yispais aliyah noyach liratzos v'kosher lichos. A person has to be easy to ask a mechila. Otherwise, it's called a cruel person. When a person sins and he then asks for forgiveness, he with a full heart says, "Don't worry, you're forgiven." Even the person sinned to him plenty. He does take no revenge at all. And that's the way of the Jewish people, and the correct heart. The goyim who have a thick skin on their heart, they're not that way. Their anger and their vengeance is always there. Because David HaMelech asked them to forgive Shaul for what he did wrong to them. He wronged them. And David HaMelech asked that they should forgive, and they didn't forgive easily. Therefore it says, David HaMelech says, no, they can't be Jewish. It can't be. They're not Jewish. They converted. This must have been a hoax conversion. They're not Jewish. If they have such cruelty, they're not Jews. What does it? That's number 1. Number 2. Every Jewish family is b'cheskas that they're a kosher family. You want a paper? Yeah. Here. Every Jewish family is kosher. Mutter lisa mehen lechatchila, you're allowed to make a shidduch, marry into the family, no problem. Nevertheless, if you see 2 families always arguing, that there is a family that always fights with them. Tomid. You see a person, he argues with everyone. He has a lot of chutzpah. You should stay away from these people. In other words, don't make a shidduch with them, because there's something wrong in the family. Person that says constantly finding other people's faults. Ooh, these people, there's a mamzerim. I know there's a story there in the family. There's something stinking over there in the yichus.
That's Lashon Hara.
That's so. Not only it's Lashon Hara, it's worse. Chosheshin loy, we suspect Shema mamzer who? Maybe he's the mamzer.
He himself is there.
Right? Shema avodim. And if he said that they are slaves, Chosheshin loy, Shema evedu. Maybe he's the slave. If a person says about other people something negative, they themselves have this negative thing. A person who has a cruelty, he hates people, he doesn't do kindness to people, maybe he's one from the descendants of the Gevonim. So don't make a shidduch with them. These are the three staples of a Jewish person. And then because really the Gevonim, the Jews shouldn't let them live, because they lied to the Jews. They said that we're traveling through this country, and the Jews made a vow that they'll let them live. It turned out that they were lying. They were the people from this land. So really, the Jews should have killed them. And they had the right to kill them. They didn't want to make a chil Hashem. They let them convert. But later, that they were so cruel to the sons of Shaul, so they said, oh, if they're cruel, they can't be. It means obviously that the conversion was nothing, that they're not Jewish.
Was conservative.
What does it? Must have been a conservative.
Reform, maybe?
Reform. What does that? Yeah. Yeah. Nebuch. Huh?
They're dropping off the conservative in this country.
No
They're
more.
They're dropping. They're sitting in a plane on Shabbos and Nebuch. They want to chil Hashem.
On Shabbos.
Yeah. They said there was a.
Well, he was on the way to shul.
He was on the way to shul. Oh. Yeah. Nebuch. They reported that there was that didn't make sense. The rabbi was in a plane, and then
he was the pilot.
He was the pilot.
He was the pilot.
And it crashed. It was Saturday morning. I'm scratching my head. Saturday morning, a rabbi in a plane. What happened?
And what is he doing on the plane?
He was bringing the shofar from Mashiach
He
Tzidkenu.
set the plan. He knew he's going to.
Maybe Kiddush Levana.
Maybe for Kiddush Levana.
You know, they get a little confused.
They don't say it on show.
Where was it? Middletown? Where was he? Upstate.
So yeah, that was a type of conversion that happened over there with the Gevonim. So we said that the Gevonim are living Bnei Yisrael.
This is the same Givon that Gidon says Shemesh beGivon Dom be'Ariach be'Emek Ayalon. It's the same Gidon.
Maybe they came from Givon, yeah. They came from Givon. Hilchas Matonas Aniyim, Perek Yud Aloch Aleph, is the third Rambam. Chayav Imon Lizar b'mitzvah tzedakah yoyser mikol hamitzvos. The Rambam says it's the Akdoma to the Perek. Yoyser mikol mitzvos seisha tzedakah siman mitzadik zera Avram Avinu shnemek yedatev asher yitzav as born of last tzedakah. That this is a staple for the children and the descendants of Avram. Vein kisei Yisrael miskonim v'das emes v'medes elo b'tzedakah. That the Jewish religion only stands on tzedakah. Shenemar b'tzedakah tekoinani. Vein Yisrael negolim el b'tzedakah. The Jews go out of exile only through tzedakah. Shenemar tzivim mishmat podav b'tzedakah. Lo'olam al adam ma'anim ha'tzedakah v'na'ira v'lehezek niglal v'shvil ha'tzedakah. No one ever got hurt from giving tzedakah. Shalom v'oiz ma'is ha'tzedakah shalom. Cholam haracham haracham Allah. If a person has mercy on others, from heaven they have mercy on him. Shalom v'nosal haracham v'rechamecha v'yirbecha. Achom yishuhu achzori v'einem haracham. A person that is cruel, that doesn't have any compassion on others, yeshlocho shliyachsei. That we can be concerned about.
I think the only
where he's coming
mitzvah,
from.
it says, Tatzil mimavet, it's tzedakah.
Tzedakah,
The
what
only
does it
mitzvah, the whole mitzvah.
And then we're saying more. A person that doesn't give tzedakah, that means they can't have compassion on others to feel what others are missing. You should be concerned about his yichus. Shein achzoris mitzuya begoyim. Shenem achzorihim v'lo yirachem. B'kol Yisrael anil v'aleim. All the Jews and the people that become Jewish, ka'achim heim. They're like brothers. Shenem bonim atam Hashem lakechem. V'lo yirachem ha'ach alach. Mi yirachem alo. If a brother won't care for a brother, who's going to care for him? L'mi ani Yisrael noisim einayim. Who are the poor Jews? Who are they depending on? Halagoyim, Shesaitamaisim? Are they depending on the Goyim which hate them? V'roitzum l'chalem? And are chasing after them? Or einanim plus lachem? They're only looking up to their brothers. Okay. What we have in all three, the bottom line is that the Rambam says that to know that someone is Jewish, they have to have rachmanas, compassion. If they have achzoris, cruelty, there's a chashash that something's wrong. Even though it looks like he's a choshev person, a choshev family, person has cruelty. So when you look for shidduch, you don't have to know big yichus. If to know if the person's kind, or cruel.
Cruelty against Jews or
anything. That's what we just said.
So how Shmuel and Navi cut his head off a guy?
Well, the Eibusha told him it's nothing to do. That's the mitzvah.
Let me ask you, if there's no question about the mother's yichus, but there is about the father, technically what?
Here is talking about the person himself, not the mother or the father.
Individuals.
The person himself. Right.
So the person.
That's what we're talking about, the person himself. So what we see here that Rebbe says is that the Rambam mentions this thing 4 times in the Yad HaChazak of Mishnah Torah. But here in Hilchos Avodim he adds 2 points. Number 1 is Zad, the last 3 lines in the first paragraph. Zad shel Avram Avinu ve'hem Yisrael sheishpilam HaKadosh Baruch Hu toivas HaTorah v'tziva yisam b'chukim mishpatim tzadikim rechmonim emalakal. The reason why Jews have compassion is because they have the toivas HaTorah. The Rambam doesn't mention it in the other 3 places. Another thing that Rambam says, v'chem midosa shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu shetzavanu l'damas behem mo'em v'rachem v'kol ma'asav. That the Yid has to emulate the Eibishter's attributes, and the Eibishter has a chemanis. These 2 points that Rambam doesn't say in the other places, only here. Why? Because in the other 2 places, regular humanity is good enough. If it doesn't, you don't have to be Jewish. If to someone to ask for forgiveness and immediately to forgive,
Right.
that's a staple of a Jew. A goy can also have that.
They could be a mensch.
They could be a mensch, and they should be a mensch.
Right.
But a Jew that doesn't have that, we say, something's wrong here. What's going on? But that's menschlichkeit. Second thing is that a person that points out other people's faults. We say, a person that is always finding other people's faults. This guy's a problem. This guy, he sees everyone's problems. This guy is the problem.
He's the bigger problem.
He's the bigger problem. Again, that's human nature. That's human nature. It's just that a Jew that walks around, apostles other, we say, but there's a problem over here. Same thing in the third thing. A person that has compassion and can feel the need of a poor person, and when a person comes and begs him, he gives him a bagel, he gives him an apple, $1. He tries to help him out. Whatever he can help him, he can help him. If he doesn't have, he doesn't have. He talks to him kindly. So that's being humane. That's basic humanity.
Right.
A goy should also have that. If a goy doesn't have it, bad news. If a yid doesn't have it, that's terrible.
Real bad news.
That's terrible. What's going on? It's choishish for sichos. And these 3 things, when you're talking about forgiveness, talking about pointing out someone else's faults, talking about giving tzedakah, for this you don't need to have toivas haTorah and midosav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If he's a mensch, he could forgive. If he's a mensch, he looks on other people's positive and not point out their negative. He's a mensch, he feels compassion for others, he gives them tzedakah. But here, when it comes to, this is his servant, I'm paying his salary, and I need to put him in his place. We say, Taka, that's not, but, and now you expect that I should feed him better than I feed myself? I should feed him before I feed myself? Mela Yid, we say if I have a Jewish servant, Kona Eved La'atzmai, Kona Odoi La'atzmai. I understand the special thing for a Yid. But he is a guy, and I need the job done. So why should why do I have to always be compassionate to him? And why do I have to give him to eat before I eat myself? So the answer is, there's two things. Number one, because the Yidden have Toivas HaTorah, and the Yidden have Midos of Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Toivas, what is the Midas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is Bli Gvul. There's two things about Midas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Number one is Bli Gvul. There's no end. There's no end. Number two is like the Rimmer Nevuchim, God, there's no such thing, God has compassion. He's not a human being. But the Midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is that He acts with the midah of compassion. So therefore, when you're talking a human being that has compassion, so the compassion for someone that's close to him is big, to someone that's far is not so big, to his friend is big, and to his enemy, the compassion is smaller. And to someone that's really far away, has zero compassion. But when a Yid has Midos of Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's not that way. Stalin Yamach Shemoy said, when one person dies, it's a tragedy. When 1 million people are murdered, it's a statistic. That's the Teva Bnei Adam. There's a story, North Korea, South Korea are fighting for so many years. Millions, not thousands, millions of people were killed over this conflict. Unbelievable. It's Yemoshe Mashiach. This is one of the nastiest conflicts in modern history. The Halavai will come to a close in a nice way. I mean, there's a simonim of Yemoshe Mashiach. It's a remarkable thing. But who cares about what happens in Korea? Who cares? Those two Koreas, Goyim, are killing each other. That's only human when you can't humanize a story. It's a statistic. 4 million people died between this year and that year, and another 2 million between this year and the other year. Sachako, 4 million people. 6 million people. It's a statistic. But Midos of Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not that way. That the compassion could be equally on everyone and Bli Gvul. So that's what the Rambam is invoking over here. The dafka over here, when we're talking about that a person has a servant who is a goy, and he has to do the job. So why do I have to treat him nicer than I'm treating my own family? The answer is, number one, that comes from Toivas HaTorah. Number two, it comes from Midos of Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why the Rambam puts in here, dafka, these two things, Toivas HaTorah, Midos of Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We know in Yam Suf, when Bnei Yisrael says Shirah, Kadosh Baruch Hu said, my creation, groaning, and you saying Shira?
Yeah.
It's his creation. What's different, Goy or Jew?
Right.
When you mentioned Korea,
the angels cried when the Goyim died. They cried.
Gemara in South Korea than anywhere else except maybe the U.S.
But maybe now if they're going to make peace between South and North, they're going to sell Gemaras also in North Korea.
Then Mashiach.
But the next step might be Iran. It might be go to Iran now.
I'm not sure with Iran if we can make peace. I think we have to nuke them.
But you have to understand what
some need his kafia and some need his hapka.
What happened was, one of the things that happened was that
it's a process.
Recently, the Koreans exploded a very large nuclear weapon in a mountain. According to the Israeli intelligence or Russian, Chinese intelligence, the mountain collapsed and created a series of big earthquakes.
Where in Hawaii?
In Korea and in nearby China. So China really got scared because here they felt the explosion, the tremendous explosion. It was 6 times the power of the nuclear weapon that's dropped on Hiroshima. That it collapsed, and that was a critical part of Korea's nuclear infrastructure because they needed a place to explode weaponry. They didn't realize they could collapse a whole mountain. So that scared them because they realized that now they were in trouble.
They have nothing.
What? This happened?
They have nothing if they collapse.
Well, no, they have other places, but I think it scared them because Chinese said we're not going to accept this anymore.
So why they wish to do to the Jew like this?
I think
He's
that's
the
what
order. And he's supposed to see this. He should do to us something.
Now we're going to get to the punchline of the whole sicha.
Say this?
Before we get to the punchline, there's a Kfar Chabad magazine 2 weeks ago. It could die for everyone to read from cover to cover. It's about Shmulik's father.
It's in Hebrew. It's very hard.
Hebrew.
It should be in English.
Unbelievable.
Maybe you could translate it for us.
One of the beautiful stories that were told there's a fellow who's now assistant to the mayor in Jerusalem. You read that story?
Yes.
You must know it. You heard it. You heard it. The Shiva.
What was
So the guy said he was in a terrible accident. Rahman al-Islam. A child Nebuch died in the accident, and he passed out. And then all of a sudden, someone jumped into his car, grabbed him, and started doing CPR on him.
in the car?
Outside the
Outside
car.
the car.
Yeah.
Took him out.
Took him out.
Right.
And he opened his eyes. It was a fellow with a big white beard.
He figured he was.
So
Figured he was already.
so he said, "Who are you?" So he said, "I'm an angel from heaven. I'm sent to save you."
I'm not just scared.
It turned out it was Shmulik's father.
Wow.
It
Incredible.
was on the way to Chabad or something.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It was on the highway, and he realized something happened in the highway. He told the driver, stop. And he went to see, and he saw that the car went off the highway completely down, and he ran down to the car, and he saw them, and then he started giving him CPR.
Wow.
Didn't wait to call ambulance and just...
He did it himself.
He don't
Saved
need
his
the
life.
army. He don't need the army to be Magen
He was in
David.
Lechi.
Wow, what a story.
When I came here to America, went to a wedding, I'm coming back 1 o'clock in the morning driving the West Side Highway, and I saw an accident. It was like in the 80s. So I stopped, like a regular Jew, like a regular Israeli, and I went over to see what's happening. The police came. The guy looked at me and said, "How are you Israeli?" The police. I said, nobody will stop in the middle of the highway 2 o'clock in the morning to help accident or something. Only Israeli would do it.
Yeah.
He was such a smart policeman. Told him, "You're right."
Unbelievable.
Nobody was there. Only me and the guy would try to help him, to do what I can do. And the police came, I don't know from where, and they came over to me. He said, "Probably you Israeli."
That's unbelievable. You know,
I was
if
with
you go,
Yarmulke, you know.
Today you could be arrested for that.
The thing that you did it.
Not that. You had no permission to touch a guy that was
That's
an
injured.
Okay.
You did something out and I could see you for that.
it's
You have
unbelievable.
to be careful.
Ah,
They
but
teach
we
you to
learn,
be-
we see somebody in danger, you go ahead. That's normal.
Hey,
Doesn't make
teach you to
different
be
rules.
cruel, not to be nice.
That's the difference of a Yid and a Goy. If you go around the world, look closely. There's on us of individuals and organizations that are helping.
Constantly.
The biggest population is Yid. If you go in Africa and South America, if you go to all verkrochene Plätze where there's problems, where the biggest proportion of people, a Yiddish organization and Yidden and Israel are coming always
Zaka
To
is,
help.
right, coming to help.
Earthquake in India, they go to head first one. They bring doctors, they bring
Right.
hospitals, they
They
bring...
set up hospitals.
Unbelievable. So that's because that's the Midas of Rachmanas. But Midas of Rachmanas could have a gvul. So that's why here the Rambam adds that besides the Midas of Rachmanas, it comes as should be natural to every single Jew. And if Chas v'Shalom a Jew doesn't have it, we suspect what's going on. So besides that, there is the compassion that a Yid gets from Toivas HaTorah and from Midos of Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And those are number one, bli gvul, and number two, it's equally everywhere. Another story that a fellow said, Shmulik's father, he said that there was a fellow said he came, Nebuch, he was a Yosem, came from after the Muhammad, he didn't have any mishpacha. Shmulik, you tell the story.
He woke as a 17-year-old in a Mossad called
This kid,
Diskin Mossad, where your mother will walk.
my mother worked here for 60 years.
Basically, this place was taking children that came from the Holocaust, and they lost everybody. They pushed none of nobody. And they used to cry at night, these kids. They're missing the parents, they're missing their brother. But what are you going to tell them? Okay, you give them a place to sleep, you give them food, and they cry. One of these guy, my father told him, I'll adopt you as my son. I'm going to be your father. Wherever you have a problem, you come to me. You have a fight with a kid, you're missing shoes, well, come to me. So you'll be my child. Kachabe. He was, opened the heart for him. So, Behar Yom, the what is it called? Independent Days in Israel. The government give money to school to take the kid for a vacation, for a trip. So the kibbutzim used to come to the place and says, "Come, we'll take your kid to a tiyul for free." So they're jumping at it. The whole day, from day and night, they used to tell them, "Why you learn this yeshiva? Come to the kibbutz. In the kibbutz, you learn to be a farmer. You're gonna have a job."
The
brainwashing this. One of these kids that my father told him, "I'm going to be your father if any problem." So he came and he said, after the trip, "I want to live to the kibbutz."
You tell your
over
father.
there. So yeah,
You tell him.
because you're my father, so I'm talking to you. Who else I'm going to talk to? So my father told him, "Is your father was wearing a shtreimel in Europe?" Well, I said, "For sure." I said, "It's a guy in this. When you want to look like your father, or you want to look like the guy that came to pick you up?" He said, "I want to look like my father." He said, "So therefore, I'll send you to some yeshiva. Don't go with this guy. I'll pay for yeshiva, whatever, right?" So when he came to the yeshiva, he took out a picture from his wallet, and there's him, his wife, children, grandchildren. It's 100 people in the picture. He said, "Look at this. One person, he saved me, right? And now we are 100 phone people." And he showed the picture.
Wow.
My brother did not listen to my father, and he's in kibbutz. He's going to come tomorrow. It was Motzi Shabbos, and his brother going to come Sunday. He's going to see his brother in the kibbutz, clean shave, not Yiddishkeit, nothing, but he was in the same Mossad together with him. And when we talk to him, he's like, he has like, I don't know, one child and a dog and something, whatever. And his brother is like a whole army with, you can't tell, nothing. That's the story you're talking about? Or a different one?
It's a different one, but this is Shani.
Can I say a story about my mother in Mosad Diskin?
Sure.
My mother, Aliyah Shalom, was the chef, the head chef. They had a kitchen. Milcha kitchen is doubled in this, and then fleshy kitchen doubled in this. Beside often kids that they took, like Shmuel said, they used to have American kids going to Israel, studying in yeshiva, and they come to eat in Mosad Diskin.
You're talking about 60 years ago, so when the Israeli just started, like 10 years for the Israelis,
And they have 2,000, 3,000 kids that you have to feed. And a lot of Americans, they didn't like the Israeli food. They used to go to my mother, they used to call her Ima. Hundreds of them, Ima, please, we need something else. She said, when everybody finish, come from the other door, stay in line, I make you for everyone, honey, sunny side up, omelette, cheese omelette. I used to be a kid, I come there, sometimes to my mother, I see a big line, maybe 30, 40, they're waiting one by one, going, my mother make them. מפנקת אותם, I מפנקת, spoil them. She used to make it. Until I remember, she used to marry kids from our house. Used to have one small apartment, 1 or 2 rooms. And the Khatan used to come to us this Shabbat, and then my father gave me money to take a taxi to take him to the hall he's getting married.
To the?
To somebody, the Magam Shidu, but he sleep by us Shabbat, and I take him to the hall to get married. I gave him suit, I gave him this. I was like 10, 15 times going with the taxi just to take them to take different, Khatanim. So this is what's different,
Chasadim that they do, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
So to summarize, every Yid has to have in him the midah of Rachmanus. But there's a special, extra, bligvul Rachmanus that we have not only from the Tev of Avram Avinu, but we have from Tev HaTorah midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Rebbe says, and this is the punchline of the sicha. Now, Avodas Hashem, it says that there's 3 types of servants of Hashem. There's the Evet, that's Evet Ivri, Ami Ivriya, and Evet Knaini. So this is Olam Abri, Yetzirah, different levels of Avodas Hashem. Obviously, who's the bottom of the barrel? Evet Knaini. Evet is Avda Befkeda Nichle. All he wants to be Hefker. He doesn't want to have the yoke of heaven on him. So you would think that you gotta break him. You gotta break him into the work. So it says the Eibishter Magid V'Orav LeYaakov Chukim Mishpat L'Yisrael. Whatever mitzvahs I give to my people, I do the same mitzvah. So if the Rebbeinu Shalom is not keeping a mitzvah, we could turn to the Rebbeinu Shalom and say, listen, you told us to do the mitzvah, you have to do the mitzvah also. What's the mitzvah over here? Here we said that he's an Evet Knaini. So l'chayra you should be permissible to use him for avodas perech, and still we say no. That Tovas HaTorah and Midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us no, we should have Rachmanas B'li Gvul, and you have to feed him first, and you have to give him. If you have a soft pillow, you have to give it to him too, and you have something. The Odin is probably living a comfortable life, right? So he has to give it to a servant too. So the same thing is about the Eibishter. Kivyochel there is, the Eibishter is Korban Ilachem Elishai. When a Yid serves the Eibishter, that's the Eibishter's bread. So the Eibishter is going to say, first serve me, and then I'll take care of your needs. First, Korban Ilachem Elishai. First, give me my, so to speak, my lechem, and then I'll take care of you. So we tell the Rebbe Shalom, no. There's a mitzvah in your Torah that even if there's an Evet Knaini, that the Avde Befkeda Nichalei wants nothing, doesn't want to serve the Eibishter, and you think you need to break him in order to put a liok in him, you have to feed him first, and then try it out, and then you're going to see that he's going to become a good Eved Hashem, and then he's going to serve the Rebbeinu Shalom Kedaboy.
No, the Rebbe told the Eibishter over here that you do your job before we do our job.
That is exactly. Yeah. David shall help from Taka, the Magidvar Aliyaka, Chuka Mishpat Alisro, that the Rebbeinu Shalom is for sure listening up to the Rebbe sichos, that the Taka, Magidvar Aliyaka, Chuka Mishpatav, that before we get around to have a big Yisodidus, a covered Chag HaShavuos, the Eibishter should already give us, on the account of that Yisodidus, should already give us have heaps and heaps of brachas, v'bonachayim, and zonu revicha for us and for Klal Yisrael.